Okay, we're live. Okay, I would like to thank everybody for attending the September 14th, 2023 meeting for the Georgetown Utilities Committee. Present here tonight, we have Kelly Campbell, we have Mayor Cowell, we have Brian Fott, myself, Jeremy Varner, and we have a member of the community, Jeff Riddle, who is here to be a part of the proceedings. And absent tonight is committee member Mike Mays, who is not feeling very well. So if there was a motion to excuse Mike's absence, now would be the time to look into that.
I will make a motion to excuse Mike.
And I would definitely second that. So Mike, if you're out there listening and watching, hope you're feeling better soon. And the next item we would have then is to look over the minutes from the last meeting, which I believe everybody has in front of them, right? Thank you, Brian, for that. Appreciate that. This is, correct me if I'm wrong, Mayor, this does not need to be formally approved. It's more for, or doing, yeah, okay. So.
It's just the information of the last meeting.
Yeah. So we'll take a look at that for a moment and see if there's anything that needs to be readdressed. And Kelly, I don't want to go too fast or too slow, so.
No, I'm reading over it. It all looks all right to me.
All right. As you remember it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right. So at this point, there are other things that the committee had wanted to discuss, but Mr. Riddle, I know we were having this back and forth, and I just want to give you the opportunity where you stand and if you would like to speak to the committee members who are here, or
If you wish to speak, you can, but you have to sit up here where the microphone is.
yeah, I did. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's on.
If you would, we're live stream, so if you would introduce yourself and then you can go ahead and freely talk.
Yeah, my name's Jeff Riddle. I'm a local builder in the community. I've built 3 subdivisions, 2 county roads, entire subdivision in Eastgate. So I have a lot of experience, somewhere around $30 million. So I was requested by Council Member Mays to look at the plan for this proposed building. So I did a little investigation into the costs for prevailing wage, and I presented a few line items here to the council tonight. So they might use it ever how they wish before deciding to vote on this building.
Jeff, on this thing that you have, when you have like door and windows, the bid packs is 98,000. The real cost is 56. What's that difference meaning? I mean, what do you mean by real cost?
Same products, but it's bid by another prevailing wage contract.
Okay, so that includes the labor plus,
Yes.
are these just labor costs?
No, this labor, it's. the
Labor
whole
and
thing.
materials,
Right.
okay.
It's just a few line items to try to show where it could end up at the end of the project.
Okay. All right. You want to look at any of this, Kelly?
Yeah, sure. I appreciate your work you're doing on it. It's, I am new at this. I wasn't here when they were talking about the building. I'm not new to council, but I'm new to it this year.
Originally, this building called for, I believe, a metal roof and I think metal studs in it. and they took that part out. It's not a pole building, it's on concrete.
Well, I do know that, because I do a lot of construction on the side as well. And it has to be looked at completely different when you start talking about, prevailing wage, government buildings, all that. And it is a little bit unfair that you can see what somebody has already bid and they put the effort in. So you could always undermine or undercut some cost.
Important to understand that I don't have any connection with this. I'm just presenting what I found. I'm not interested in being involved with the project.
No, and that's a little bit of, when you say you have it broke down here of 98,000 for doors and windows, real cost 56,000. I'm not denying that you can find that for that, to
The
buy
prevailing
it.
wage contractor.
Right, but again, they've had the opportunity, it's been bid twice, public bid through every process. And just from the outside looking in, nobody wants to do it but 3 companies. So, that's kind of where we're at with some of it. You can continue while I look this over if you got anything else to talk about.
When you put this together, Jeff, and I realize either the people you contact, we don't know who they are.
Names will-
Well, I understand you could, but still at this point in time with the bid packets being closed back in, I think the second ones came in, in July or June, July, you
It
remember?
was end of June. I could be wrong.
Okay. That's when the sealed bids had to come in and they were opened at that point in time. And that's where we are at this juncture. And, they've done their due diligence in sorting through that, and they've come up with prices that they feel are appropriate. There's some, maybe about $150,000 between all of them, something like that.
Where did the number from 52,000 earthwork versus 8,000? Like where are you getting? Like, give me an example of that.
Well, the earthwork would entail just the footer dig and hauling away the debris. So I use that figure off of just what my experience is, how long it would take to get it done and what it would take. Earthwork was way off the charts on what I assumed would be the right number.
There's a lot of earthwork that has to be done. There's a trench drain that has to be taken across, I think, the entire property.
The plumber bid on that. That was a plumber part.
Right. We're doing the plumbing.
Yeah, you guys pulled that out, didn't you?
Yeah. Electric and water we pulled out. But
Did the best I could to try to help. the
I
town.
understand, and we appreciate that, and we like people wanting to help us save money, but there is the process that we have to go through, and I explained this to Mike this morning too, and he understands that there is a process. He's just wanting to try to save money, and I understand that, and I appreciate.
We're late.
Yeah, just real late in the game,
Mhm.
and had this been submitted at an earlier time before those bids were open, by golly, we would have been tickled to death to see something that was.
I could use my contacts to get with the
Mhm.
prevailing wage contractors to try to persuade them to come to Georgetown.
Right. Well, all these larger contractors, like the ones that bid on the project, they do this 100% of the time, every day. And they know what they have to pay on government works with prevailing wage. So that's built into that. There's also a profit built into everything that they do because they don't want to do it for nothing. You wouldn't, I wouldn't, Kelly wouldn't either. But, it's one of those things where, we have to take in consideration, they did the time and effort of putting back a packet that they didn't know would be accepted. They didn't know whether they'd be the low person, the high person, or somewhere in between. So when all these packets came back in and I shouldn't say they're relatively close because, $150,000 is a wide bracket, but, they come in with different things. Even the low bid was high on some things, higher than the other one, but others had higher things in different things, but they all have different suppliers. Their wages they pay their people, I'm sure, all vary. However, with prevailing wage, they know pretty much what they're going to get paid. So other than that, I don't know what to say. I wish you could have been here 4 months ago. And, right, I know. And we appreciate you trying to put this together. Jeremy, do you have any questions or anything?
I do have one because, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. Of the 5 people in this room, I probably am the bottom least knowledgeable about this. Is not a thing, but I'm wondering if it's okay with you. Could I record this just for as a conversation piece? I know. Okay, cool. I didn't wonder that.
Put the names to those if you're interested.
At this point in time, that's
It's
not
not really
relevant.
necessary because it's over, so.
Yeah, but it's good to have these to discuss in the future if we.
In the future, if you're interested in my input, because being in the industry as long as I have.
Well, these are the things that, all right, that, we have to, contractors have to look for the ads that are placed in whatever entities that we advertise this in. I know it was in the Brown County Press and I believe the News Democrat 2 different times. And, those bid specs were available out there. So unfortunately, had you been able to get a hold of it, then maybe we'd be talking a different tune today. But
Because I don't watch for those things.
no, right. And that's, these companies, they have people that do that for a living. They just scour the whole marketplace all the time because, if they don't work, they don't eat. So they have to do that too. But, we appreciate you coming in there and we'll share this with the rest of our council and let them have a look at it too, Jeff. Okay.
Trying to help out,
I understand.
save money.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. So, all right. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Am I going?
You're welcome to stay or leave.
No, it's okay.
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 You guys have fun with all this. Yeah.
Take care. Thanks for coming by. Okay. Kelly, I really appreciate your knowledge on this, your experience on this, because I mean, I've been on this committee for a while and I've learned a ton, but there's nothing like, people who've getting out there and doing this and bringing their experience to the committee. So I appreciate that for sure. Okay, so.
Just for
Yes,
one other thing,
please, yeah.
Larry Hatfield will be here tonight and
Yeah.
he will have on a thumb drive and he can go down through these expense items for us if we need him to. Okay.
Right, yeah. He was one of the people I was thinking about when I wanted to,
Right.
I didn't realize he was going to leave the data behind because I mean, on the fly like this, those numbers can look great. And I would like to see if nothing against Mr. Riddle, but I just want to make sure they hold up under like the parameters that we have to follow as a village versus what we might want to do if we could, yeah. Again, I'm not trying to play games of a gotcha or anything like that. I'm just trying to see what can be done. Yeah.
I assume we could hook Larry's thumb drive up into either that computer so he can, or on yours.
We have the other one there. I'll hook it up to that. No
Okay,
problem.
all
Yeah,
right.
that'd be great because I got a lot of documents open tonight.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
sure that surprises you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay to move on then? You good, Kelly?
Yes.
Okay. So item number 3, I just wanted to update the committee about something I'm going to say quickly this evening is that we had with gas aggregation coming online and things going really well with that so far. We had a real interesting situation where a small business was wondering if they qualified. And so there was a back and forth about, because gas aggregation is for residential and for small usage lots only. And the conversation was, how big does it have to get before you get big enough to not qualify? And 2 things came out of that. One, a number, 5,000, 5,000 cubic feet, cubic yards, it's measured in cubic feet, right?
Mhm.
I'm getting it mixed up with all the grading stuff I have. 5,000 cubic feet per year is the cutoff. But there actually might be some very small businesses that would then qualify. And Jay is looking into whether or not Duke provided those names to send out the letter to, or if they just automatically send it to a business, they don't qualify.
Like my business out on South Main
For
Street.
example.
I don't have gas, but if I did,
Yep.
I certainly wouldn't use that much
Right.
gas.
And
Another question has to be like, if you're gathering the information is, let's say the coffee loft, just as an example.
right.
Let's say their average usage was 4,500 a month,
Mm-hmm,
and so they qualify.
mm-hmm.
Well, what happens if they go over that 5,000? What's
Like in the winter, yeah.
how's that gonna affect their usage of gas? And do they switch back, and once they hit 5,000, do they go back to Duke, or how does that?
Or even a business that is more heavily reliant on gas and seasonally.
Right, I just use them.
No,
as-
yeah.
Because, I mean, we're usually pretty consistent with our usage at work, but all of a sudden, 2 years down the road, we get this big spike, and we're,
Mm-hmm.
if that happens to one of them, and how's that gonna affect them being on the gas aggregation?
Yeah, that's a good
Or the
question.
gas aggregation itself,
Right.
as a whole.
But as it stands now, those people that might not qualify for gas aggregation aren't being penalized. They're just going to be paying the same rate as they have. been.
Correct.
So,
However, a second portion of that is Jay Sell, who's the man who's managing this for Aspen, also said, and I'll say this when we probably have a wider viewing audience later on, that if you're over, he'd still very much be willing to work with you to try to find individually cheaper rates for your business. So it would be outside of gas aggregation, but still but within his ability to find better rates. So I'm going to throw that out there. Is my assumption that that as nice a guy he is, that may not. I mean, he may be, in all fairness, getting a percentage or something like that. I don't know exactly how that works, but I feel the need to say it in order to be fair. But if you can save people money, you can save people money. So
If you go over, then you're with Duke, period. Like if there's a big business in town, they stayed with
They
Duke.
stay with Duke, just
Or-
as they have been.
or whoever they have.
Or they can get an independent
Yep.
gas coming. I remember
We shut-
when I lived up in Dayton, there was a company, I think called ISG. And it was a subsidiary, well, kind of affiliated with Dayton Power and Light. But they would be the collector of my bill. Dayton Power and Light loved it because they didn't have to collect anyone's bill. They probably said, give us 90% of everything. I'm just using that as an example. Maybe it's 90% of what you collect. You keep the other. That's your profit. And that's kind of what the secondary market would be. This isn't gas aggregation. That's just a different thing. And so, the gas company didn't have to worry about anyone being late on their bills. They got paid on monthly, timely basis. So that was worth it to them. No bad debts, no people behind on payments.
So we shop ours at work, our gas. We usually get about 15 to 20 options. And the options vary between, how long your contract has to go, how low your cost is. There's 3 or 4 variables that usually work in. We shut ours off every spring because we only use it for our furnaces. So we shut it off every spring and bring it back up every fall. So we won't do anything over a 6-month contract.
Right.
But you'd be surprised how much that cost will vary and how much the contract terms will vary.
But then you have to buy coats for all your employees though, don't you? In that springtime when it's cold.
Yeah, we usually shut it off about late April.
Buck up, guys, right?
That's right.
Yeah, so it's because you can individually shop, and I know, like, my wife is going to look into individually shopping. She's said it's probably gas aggregation is going to be way better, but that's who she is. She checks out all the options. I know there are a couple other people in town who've mentioned that to me, and we welcome that because they can find something. It's all about saving money, But what I liken it to in my head is doing your own stocks. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to getting a broker or a 401k program for you. You can do it, but you kind of stay on top of things and make sure.
At your own risk.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas if you hire somebody else to do it, you're likely to get a better deal. And also, if anything goes south or something changes suddenly, while you're doing something else, they're on the case to.
Kelly, you weren't here when we first did gas aggregation, but we had a vote last November. You probably remember we had it. And what it entails, it passed. So everyone gets thrown into the gas aggregation with Aspen Energy. They can say, no, I don't want to be with Aspen, so they can opt out. As soon as they're pushed in, they can opt out and still remain with Duke.
Or opt out and find a different,
A third
a
party.
third party and go with that. I mean, I encourage people to look. It's not always easy to find something, but it's definitely possible. Okay, so I was gonna let you know, so, because I'm gonna announce that because the one local business that contacted me, I want that to get out there to people to know. And then also if there's other businesses that are like, oh, really? That guy could do something for me. Yeah. So questions on that? Yeah, okay, cool. All right, so item number 4, I had thought is Art gonna be here for the big meeting?
We
Okay.
can have him on phone if need be.
Okay,
But I have answers for that next one.
okay, very good. Because I feel like, I'll let you speak, Dale, but the Main Street water main project is chugging along. We had some things that we were looking at last week, and I believe we've kind of corrected the course of some issues that are going on, and we're ready to just move forward, but I think we're gonna have to talk about it tonight, and Dale, I'd love it, because what I really want is to make sure we all have the same facts, and we all know what we're talking about, and not talking at cross purposes. Yeah, so Dale, please take it away.
You want me to talk about the water main? I was wanting to talk about the water building, but that's all right. Yeah.
I was gonna call you on that one too, I'm not gonna lie.
Well, let's do the Main Street Water Project.
Yeah.
This was a project that was bid out, and Ford Development, I believe that's their last name, won the bid for that. The only bidder for the project. It's had some snafus along the way. They went through a gas line that wasn't supposed to be where it was, but it was, and they had to get that repaired. So that a little bit of delay. There was some concerns about some connections that were being made, and there was some back and forth between Administrator Owens and the owner of the company, and we have got those resolved. They should be done. If they're not done this week, it should be the first part of next week on those specific things that Administrator Owens negotiated with Ford Development. As far as paving, that probably won't be until after our fair is done. The plates will be taken up. There's a place, I think, where Duke Energy has to come in and do some repair yet, and that may still have a plate, but it'll be a little rough going for the people coming down for the fair parade, but nonetheless, you have to go ahead and get things done. And that's pretty much it.
I have a question.
Yes.
You might be able to answer. What happens with all the curb and concrete damage?
If they created it, I would assume that they have to replace. I don't know that for a fact, but I don't know if they've done much damage in that regard. Okay. Well, that's something we'll have to get addressed. I don't know what the answer is to that, but I would assume that they have to put it back to a reputable state.
And along those lines, I know this answer, but for people who are listening and watching, right now up the street, we got holes in the yards where the new connection, all that stuff. Is that the responsibility of the homeowner or the company to refill, resod, that kind of thing?
Now, they have to refill in.
Yeah.
As far as sodding, I don't know that they'll do that, but they have to level it to the point where it's, as good as it can get. Of course, with rains, it'll probably sink. Someone will have to refill it again.
So to sum up, we're back on track for.
We're in the home stretch. This has probably been delayed by maybe a week. So as long as the weather holds up, they should be done. I think there was a few more lines they had to redo, but I think they've done most of those at this point in time. I think they're probably down close to your house, aren't they?
They were, the last
Okay.
I heard. Yeah, this is
Okay.
what Tracy tells me when I come home. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm sure you two that live on Main Street are tired of hearing the thump, 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 thump on those metal plates. So,
That's actually it eventually became white noise.
okay.
In the beginning, it was like, is that gonna keep me up? And then you just get
It's
used
kind
to
of
it.
like a song. You get that beat to it every now and then. So,
Yeah. Unless something goes by that's got a lot of chains on it, like it's like pulling a trailer for lawnmowing equipment and stuff like that, then it gets to be a symphony, tell you what. Okay, so Kelly, anything else you wanted to touch base on or check into for right now on item number 4? Cool. All right, great. So Dale is the star of this evening. So item number 5 is we are likely to have a discussion on what Mr. Rowe was here to discuss, the utilities building and the bid that has been proposed for that. This came up at our last full council meeting, and it was suggested that we hold off till this week, give people time to look into the project, discuss it, that kind of thing. And basically, once again, I just want to make sure that, because this is our, utilities committee's purview, making sure we have all the knowledge, we have all on the same page, because when we discuss it tonight, we're going to be ready for whatever comes up. And at that point, Mr. Mayor.
the other item would be on the old water building on South Main Street, 729 South Main.
Mhm.
We are in talks about selling that property, but we can't go into any detail about it. We'll probably consider this tonight at our council meeting, but can't go into much detail about that at this
Yeah.
point in time. Also, on last week's, or the last meeting's minutes, the sewer pumps on our Possum Run lift station, I'm not sure whether they've been inserted yet. They were on order, so hopefully they'll be there, because right now we've got a diesel-powered pump or a generator down there helping us pump that out.
Those are the ones that burn out in that extreme weather situation, right? Where they just got completely overwhelmed.
Right,
Yeah.
it's the one that's off of Green Acres Drive, as in Freeze, you go back down there over the hill. That has to shove all the waste towards free soil and up. Once it gets past Stony Brook, it's pretty much gravity feed, but it has a lot that it has to shove in that direction.
Yeah, and I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, last time when Art was here, he's saying you can't just dial up those pumps and have them here in a couple days. That there's I don't know if it was a supply chain issue or just how popular they are or what, but he was saying it's a struggle to get a hold of them for sure.
Everyone's encountered over the last 3 years. It's partly supply, partly just things run amok, but nonetheless.
All right. So we're gonna do that. So now this is good. We're to item number 6. Other items that need to be discussed. Hearing none. No, slightly more formally. Councilmember Campbell, do you have any other items to bring to the utility committee at this point in time?
No, I do not.
Okay. Mayor O'Brien? No. Okay. Then I believe we've got everything covered, and I will say, Art, if you're out there listening, I hope you are feeling better, and we'll talk to you soon. But other than that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. And I'll go ahead and second that. Motion carried, and give me a second, but otherwise, the Utilities Committee is adjourned.